In this session, you are going to observe some plagiarism related tools which are popular as well as some freely available resources. Just to recap the definition of plagiarism. In the last session, I gave the definition for FFP. Just for the sake of your convenience, recap the definition of plagiarism. As per the definition given by Cambridge Dictionary, it is the stealing of other source. The definition have been restructured in various formats by various sources. But if you concentrate on the definition, it gives only one point. We should not steal others' work. The process or practice of using another person's ideas or work, pretending that it's your own. So it should not be occurred at any cost. Let us see the types of plagiarism. See, Tanitin and Wukun. These are the two popular plagiarism detecting packages available across the globe. As per the Tanitin, there are 10 types of plagiarism exist. If you access the online, it may give you a lot of plagiarism types. But based on the experiences of the Tanitin package, they have categorized top 10 types of plagiarism. That means what they have frequently faced when they detect the sources submitted by the undergraduation and post-graduation level works as well as the thesis submitted by the scholars. So based on these experience, they have categorized 10 types of plagiarism so far they have traced. The first type you are watching, it is called as clone type plagiarism. The type 1 is called as clone type. In this type, you are submitting the another's work word by word. There is no change. Just if you see what are the changes you have done in the thesis, just the wrapper and your name only have been changed. The rest of all the items have been represented as it is. This type is identified and clone type. See the frequency. Out of 10, 9.5 frequency reflects the clone type plagiarism is often traced by the Tanitin package. The second type, plagiarism, is referred as a control C type. In this type, you are familiar about the control C and the control V action. Copying particular portion and it will be pasted in your research work. This type of plagiarism is then categorized under control C type. In this work, you are copying the significant portion of the text from a single source without alteration. Just understand the difference between the clone type and the control C type. Particular portion you copy. There will be no changes. Just you collect it and include it in your research. The frequency, if you refer, out of 10, 8.9 frequency occurs under the control C type plagiarism. The third type, plagiarism, is referred as a find and replace. In the document editor application, like as MS Word or OpenOffice, whatever the application you are familiar, you know what is the use of find and replace. Changing the keywords and phrases, but retaining the essential content of the source. You find some part in the other sources where some of the parts have been restructured by you as per your demands. What actually your research demands that can be manipulated in others' work, for which we use the control find and replace option. This is categorized under the type 3. See the frequency, out of 10, 3.9 frequency it reflects. This is the fourth type, named as remix type plagiarism. In this type, paraphrasing from multiple sources and made it to fit together. We refer various electronic documents, not printed. In online, you access various sources and you collect them. Finally, you accumulate them and it will be recorded in your research. This is called as a remix type. You must wonder how the Turnitin package algorithm powerfully works behind the researcher documents. Because once this was complicated, tracing the plagiarism 2 decades back was quite complicated. But nowadays it is not like that. Turnitin as well as Orkun, they structure their algorithms often at frequent intervals. Their computer package algorithms they are restructuring to face the various levels of plagiarism. Every week, every month, they observe the users and students' feedback. How to trick the Turnitin package, how to trick the other plagiarism application softwares in online. Often, the researchers are having discussion through the social medias. We use social networks to discuss. If you type how to cheat the Turnitin, how we can plagiarize, how can we trick the packages, whenever you type this question, do not forget all these items are monitored by the Turnitin and Orkun package developers. Automatically, your questions and the related keys answer everything will be traced. Based on these things, they restructure the software algorithms. That's why it has the capability to trace different kind of plagiarism. See, this one is a remix. You may refer various sources, but however, it has the capability to trace it. That is the thing you have to keep it in your mind. See, out of 10, 5.6% of the frequency is occurred in remix type submissions. This one is the fifth type called as recycle type plagiarism. Borrowing generously from one's previous work without citation. The last session I told you, we want to collect some sources from others' work, but we are not we are not interested to give the credits, maybe intentional or unintentional, that is different. But we are not ready to acknowledge others' contribution. This is called as a recycle type. You have properly collected everything, but there is no acknowledgement you have provided. This is shows the 5.5 frequency out of 10. That means when the researchers submit the research work, this kind of plagiarism, the package traces off. The sixth type is referred as a hybrid type. Usually in this type, the researchers give the perfectly cited sources they are combining with the copied pages. However, there will be no citations. You see, already the source is properly cited in some other research. You collect the source, you collect the citation also, but the source which have been referred by the original author has not been properly mentioned in your work. That is a hybrid type. It has variations. See, of course, the frequency is less, 0.5, because when you collect the other source with the citation, automatically the author of the paper will be also considered by the researcher. So this kind of frequency falls less when comparing to rest of the 5 types of plagiarism. This is the 7th type. It is called a smash-up plagiarism. See the frequency 9.1. Mixing copied material from multiple sources. Various sources we access using online, whether dictionary or books or journals or YouTube or blogs, any networks. We access because whenever you type the keyword, it gives some relevant data. What you do, simply you copy and you paste it in your document. But there will be no proper authentications. This is referred as a mashup. This one is received when comparing to the clone type. Both shows almost the close range, above 8, the 9.1 frequency. That is what researchers nowadays do. Because the net gives, when you type the Google, any keywords, it will give some related data. But you must be aware, all the data, whatever related by the Google are not authenticated data. That's why the researchers are expected to confirm the originality by referring the related citations. If it is from the group of Elsevier or Springer, If the publisher is top in the market, they have the printed sources, everything needs to be verified carefully. Simply the screen gives you some data, there may be a chance to see the falsified data because this is the open forum. Google and social media are an open platform. Anyone can create their own views. So you must be aware. Whatever you type, whatever you see on the screen are not authenticated data. You need to confirm the originality of the data with the popular textbooks or the printed resources. That's why the experts always insist to go through the printed reference sources, which are quite familiar in the field. So in your field, whether chemical engineering or civil engineering, you know the popular authors in so many decades who are familiar in this field, how many books they have written, what are the articles they have published, you can refer it. Then if you are satisfied with the data, whatever you retrieved using the online, if it is matched with the already existing books data, you can choose it. But blindly when you access, because when you give the keyword, the browsers will give you the search engines. It will match the codes of key terms, the websites. It will give lot of information. The top level based on the index, it will give the top level links on the first screen. So our users, the mentality, first the 3 links they will click and will collect some data. But you should verify it. It needs to be confirmed before go to include these things in your results. Mashup is one this kind. The 8th type of plagiarism is referred as a 404 error type. Actually, this is related to the online links. Often you might have faced this kind of errors. Today you have started your research work. For this, you access some websites. You quote it in your references. After some period, when they access the link, it may or may not exist. Sometimes the publishers may remove the link or the domain may be changed. Sometimes it would be archived by the publisher. There are various reasons behind the 404 errors. This is the major problem in the retraction part. In the last session, I showed you various retraction issues. It was mentioned by the publisher guidelines as one of the major drawbacks. Because you quote the link, web link, I have accessed this resource for my article, you have provided it in the reference part. You have properly acknowledged. But what happens? After some years, maybe 10 years or 5 years, when issues arise, they will check each and everything. That time it will show the 404 error. That means the sources gives inaccurate information. Because of these reasons, it may be migrated to some other location by the publisher. Usually, when the collection limits exceed, the publisher habit was to move it into an archive format, which is quite natural thing. But when the link is moved, the proper information you will find on the screen, on the particular home page, it will give proper information. The 404 error will not exist. Just understand. If the publishers are authorized, they are the quality-based publishers, they are maintaining their base rules. Whenever they move into archive format, and information, the message will be displayed. This link has been moved to some other location. Please click here. This direction will be given by the publisher. But many publishers are not doing like this. This is the problem. This is called as a 404 error. In the retraction part, this problem often occurs. Because today the link may exist. After some year, if you access the link, it won't exist. Maybe various reasons. It shows the 0.6 frequency, less than 1, of course, less than 1, because the researchers are aware. When they quote the reference, the link related references, they are all aware. That's why the frequency is less when comparing to other. You must be very careful when you use the online resources links. The proper details need to be enclosed. This one is referred as type 9. Named as aggregator. You have included proper citations, but your contribution is 0. That means in the literature part, for example, in your research in introduction and literature, some resources you have referred from other sources. It occurred 5 to 10 pages. When refer the 10 pages, all the 10 pages show the others' contribution except yours. Then what is your rule? The citations we use, it permits to use other sources. It doesn't mean that we need not show our contribution. So in your research, at least your role is very important. See, it shows 2.8 frequency. Many researchers just copy the thing, they paraphrase it, they acknowledge the document properly. But the idea extracted by the researcher, original idea, if you refer it, it shows 0. This is called as an aggregator type. So do not forget, whenever you refer some literatures, other resources, you are permitted to extract the essence of the other researcher findings. You are not permitted to use the findings as it is. This is not the way to use the literatures and other resources. What is the purpose we refer the previous researchers' thesis or any dissertations or any kind of publications? Just we capture the way they handled, the way of approach they used in their research. They need to be traced. Their findings may show different values. It needs to be compared with your. If it is matched, you can use this value to justify your findings. For supporting purpose, we use the literatures. It is not the purpose to reproduce others' work as it is. Even though you give the proper acknowledgement, it won't be accepted. It will be treated as an aggregator type plagiarism. Because the researcher, as a researcher, your own ideas need to be expressed. The frequency it shows out of 10 is the 2.8 level. This is the 10th type plagiarism. It is called as a retweet. Including proper citation, but relying too closely on the text original wording and or structure. You have given proper citation. Other thesis tables and some pictures, almost close work you have followed in your research. This type of plagiarism also faced. The fabrication type, of course, it is a fabrication type. You are manipulating your data and you make it your work par with others' work. But some difference exists. This is called as a retweet type. Almost 4.4 frequency is traced by Tannitin out of 10. So you have observed so far the top 10 type plagiarisms categorized by Tannitin. Usually this is the current one. So far Tannitin traces the plagiarism among these 10. So if you are aware of these 10 types, you can secure your research work. The reasons when plagiarism occurs, the reasons behind the retraction activities, the duplicate publication, self-plagiarism. You know what is duplicate publication? Simultaneously publishing the articles in different locations. The last session I showed you, one author published nearly more than 5 papers. The same paper was published by him in different journals. It comes under the duplicate publication. And self-plagiarism. Repeating our own works. You are author of your work. It doesn't mean that you can copy and reproduce it in other paper again and again. One researcher did the same, nearly 10 papers. He repeated the same thing, self-plagiarism. It was retracted. You are author of your own work, no one will object. But it doesn't mean that on all the paper you can repeat the particular portion again and again. This kind is called as self-plagiarism. You should not do this kind of activity. Then plagiarism of others. Then data issues related retractions. The falsified data and ownership issues. Plagiarism checkers often trace these things. When issues arise, your publication or any other contributions will be inquired under these categories. So the plagiarism or data issue, particularly in the engineering and the scientific research, the laboratory-based issues would be arised. I told you about the honest errors. Error on the theory or data analysis. Sometimes you may forget to include the values in your research. The experimental based errors might be occurred. Sometimes you may not produce the work again. These are treated as a honest error, but as I said, these errors are difficult to prove. You can't say it in word form. You need to produce some supportive evidences. That's why the honest errors need to be carefully handled. If you are careless, may lead you to commit the honest errors. Yes, quoting the values, the importance of quoting the values, you are aware. If you ignore this, it will take you to commit the honest errors. But at the same time, you must keep it in your mind, these are very hard to prove. There you can say, I am loyal, I am honest to research, I am following the research ethics. They won't accept. Evidences, they need, committee, they need evidences. Without evidences, whatever you suggest, they won't bother. Some other factors related to the retraction issues, the copyright related issues. When you refer the copyrighted document, the material, you know, in scientific laboratory, the experimental items, everything, the copyright issues need to be carefully followed. Abuse during the reviews. This is related to the publisher and reviewer parts. Many reviewers are threatened by the contributors. This has happened in the West End as well as our country. If this is proved, this is one of the reasons behind the retractions. Unable to contact the co-authors, the fake authors, I told you. Authors exist in the paper, but when the editorial board tried to contact them, there was no people exist, no ID. They all are fake ID, fake institutions, and fake data. Then institutional level inquiries. If any inquiries raised against the contributor, this also will be considered for retraction activities. See, plagiarism detector insists the researcher should take care of the citations. Many researchers, they're hard working in their research. But in the last part, you know, the footnotes and the bibliographical references play the major role. They often forget these things. But the plagiarism detector, the first warning they give in their website, check your citation sources. You must use the standard citation techniques and they need to be properly quoted. See, this one is a chemical materials journal from American Chemical Society. The popular journal like this always gives the provision to collect the citation. Once these provisions were not exist, decades back, if you go, all the references, we researcher manually transfer it into the standard format. We did. But now, the journals like American Chemical Society and global engineering journals from USA, like a lot of journals, they provide citation facilities. See, the arrow indicates one blue background tick point. If you click this, it will give one pop-up where you can find the citation transfer formats. Whatever you want to trace, see, if you click it, this form will be loaded where the download citation option is there. So whether APA or EndNote, footnote, these styles, when you refer the journal, when you access the online journal, if the provision is given by the concerned publisher, you can use this. Otherwise, it would be difficult. You have to manually prepare it. The online based generators are there. Whether you use APA or any other different styles are there. See, all kind of reference formats they have quoted. If you click the download citation, it will give you the output. You can just copy and paste it in your research form. The standard format, because plagiarism checker will detect the source and the related data in the through standard format. If you miss the standardization, chances are there to skip the authenticated data. Then what will happen? Automatically the work will be categorized under the plagiarism. You have provided the source, related citation is there, but you missed the standardization. Then it will skip that part. See, plagiarism. Actually, the packages not check the plagiarism. They check the similarities. Just understand. Machine doesn't know whether you have committed falsification or fabrication. It will check the similarities. They are the similarity measures. Whatever the source we provide, the source will be matched with lakhs of documents available in online. Whatever the platform they have, it will be accessed and matched. It gives the similarity based index. It can happen accidentally. The plagiarism can happen accidentally. Applies even if you paraphrase. Whenever the researcher go for collecting the literature, they are asked to paraphrase, because paraphrase help you to restructure the literatures. Some author has presented their idea, you want to use it in your work. Here, if you reproduce as it is, it will be plagiarism. Then what you do, in your own words, that need to be restructured. But sometimes when you paraphrase, it also leads you to the plagiarism. Using other sources is good as long as you cite them. Without citation, whatever you use would not be counted. Citing shows a source which ideas are your own. After excluding the cited items, the rest of the items are your own ideas. The checker will detect in this way. Just remember. You have 10 pages introduction part. In the introduction part, the 10 references you have quoted. The related 10 sources and the references will be calculated by the plagiarism checker. It will omit and it will keep under the platform. The rest of the part will be treated as your own ideas. That's way it calculates the plagiarisms. How to avoid the plagiarism? There are 3 steps popularly available. Let me show one by one. Step 1, keep track of your sources. In the last session, I advised you to maintain the research diary to record all the activities related to your research. Keep a list of all the sources, whatever you can search. These things you need to secure. The sources may be websites or the videos like YouTube, and magazines or newspapers, dictionaries, directories, reports, the patents, encyclopedia, yearbooks, any reviews, government indexes, abstracts, any resources you access. It needs to be recorded properly. Note down sources just in case. Even if you are not sure, you will use them. You may have referred some hints. You should not think this source will not be useful to us. Do not think like that. Whatever you refer, just record it in your diary. It will help you. The details which are mandated to mention. Of course, these are all coming under the bibliographical part. In the citation part, these things need to be quoted. The author, contributor name, source title. Source here refers journals or books or any conference, seminars, all other the publication sources. Publication date, publisher, page numbers of specific codes or passages. Whether codes or passage, whatever you covered, the particular page numbers are very important. Then URL or DOI for online sources. URL, you are aware, Uniform Resource Locator. DOI is a document object identifier allotted by the journal publishers nowadays. In online, they are maintaining the DOI because DOI will directly take the users to the related specific source. Now, this DOI is popularly used by the plagiarism detectors. Whenever you quote the journal sources, the DOI will help them to match the similarities. Access date for online source. On what date you access to the resource need to be also provided. These guidelines are provided by all citation techniques, whether APA or Chicago manual style or Harvard reference style or any one of the reference style, whatever you use. Everyone, they have their own styles and the rules and regulations to use these data in the citations. So as per your interest or the guide suggestion, you can use the citation techniques, but the rules related to the techniques need to be followed. Because APA style is different when comparing to Harvard style. Chicago style is different when comparing to MLE style. Often these styles follow their own standards. Step 2. Quote or paraphrase. How to handle this? The two ways of sharing information from the source. The left side you can find the quoting item. The right one indicates the paraphrasing item. When you quote, these rules need to be followed. Copy the author's exact word. For example, if you want to quote any other someone's popular definition, it needs to be copied as it is. You should not change or you should not include your own words in their definition. You are not permitted. Charles Darwin has given one definition. It needs to be copied as it is. And second one, the quotation marks need to be used. Within the quotes, the quotes needs to be placed. If you omit the quote, it would be treated as a paraphrase. The checkers will check every item like this. Just see the paraphrase. Put the text into your own words. Now you want to refer some other definition. Here you have the rights to change it. But the quotation mark should be avoided. If you omit the quotation marks, the plagiarism, it will bring it under your own works. Otherwise, it would be treated as a other's work. So where the double quotes need to be used and where it needs to be omitted, you must be aware. Whenever you quote some other popular terms, the definitions, words, phrase, expressions, it should be given within the quote. If you want to give your own kind of words or ideas, just omit the quotes. This comes under the paraphrase and rest of the one falls under quoting. See the example. This is a quoting example. This is the Darwin quoting. It has been produced as it is. Within the double quote, the Darwin definition has been provided. See the last row. The year and the page number needs to be mentioned like this. This is called as in-cite reference. This is called as in-text citation or in-cite reference. Quoting the reference within the paragraph in the text format is completely different when comparing to the references. At the end of the chapter, you will add some bibliographies or references. This is completely different. In the references part, you have to list down all the details from author to date of access. But in the text, when you write all the items in your introduction or any other part, the in-text citation should include the year and the page number of the details. This is called as a in-text citation. I show this example. See, paraphrasing example. The same previous example has been restructured by our own words. Just feel the difference. No double quotes used. The 5-line or 4 or 5-line has been restructured into 3 lines. The way how you can paraphrase. If you want to quote as it is, you must use double quote. By which you are indicating this is not my work. This is the work given by some other expert. Here, the paraphrasing helps you to indicate this is your own work. It is from your own desk. See, always cite the original source. Step 3, insist. The original source need to be cited. Because some other author have collected some information from their work. When you collect the work, the original source also need to be mentioned. Many researchers are omitting. You are collecting the data and you give the citation. But the researcher are collected from some other sources. That related sources also need to be mentioned. See, in-text citations briefly identify the source. A reference list gives full source information, author, source name, title, publisher, then publication date, URL, DOI, and date of access. Everything should be listed in the reference list. But in text, the details are very less. The author name, pages, and year. Consistent reference style. As I said, there are various styles. These are popular styles. APA, MLA. So Modern Language Association. APA is nothing but American Psychological Association Standard Citation Style. Then Chicago Reference Manual and Harvard Reference Manual. Varieties of manuals are available. You can go through as per your interest. Online citation generators can help you to generate the citation. Now a lot of online packages are available there. If you give the bibliographical sources for the document, it will give you the output, the citation output. But it disadvantages is no ad-free packages are available. Often it will distribute. Sometimes it will commit the wrong output. So the risk is yours. See, this is an example for APA citation-based technique. In-text citation and reference list citation. The two different techniques I have mentioned here. The first one shows how you need to mention the author and the year, page numbers in text. See, the reference list reflect the same authors and the complete bibliographical details. Here, the source name and the publisher details, everything is provided. Smith and Thomas, their names need to be quoted in the in-text. In the reference list, you need to provide complete list. When the detector match these words, automatically it will be omitted. It will not be classified under the plagiarism. Now, this is the right format. See the wrong technique. This technique should not be followed. In in-text citation, the same text and same authors. See, in in-text, Smith alone exists. Thomas is omitted. See the reference. Often researchers committing this kind of errors because they are copying and pasting in the text without aware of the necessity of the citation in the research. That's why plagiarism detector insists the researcher should take care of the citations. Otherwise, your work will be categorized under the plagiarism. Smith exists in the in-text reference, whereas reference shows the Thomas alone. No Smith exists. So the controversial, it's contrary against these two. It assumes that two different, they won't be matched. Try to avoid this kind of errors. Springer has given various instructions. If you access the Springer journal homepage, avoiding the manipulation, fabrication related issues. Separate page. Now all the journals they have provided where you can find the instruction like this. The images or whatever you use in your research should not commit any kind of manipulations, the fabrications and falsification related issues. Whenever you submit the journal, already I told you, you must go through these guidelines. Otherwise, it would be rejected. They won't consider it. Before submitting the journal, you need to verify everything. As per the rules given by the journal publishers, it needs to be verified. You may adjust the brightness or contrast. See, there is a limitation. It is your work. It doesn't mean that you can give some fancy works in the figures and other things. You should not do it. Whenever you use the editing packages, the package details also need to be submitted to the journal editors. The guidelines clearly says everything you need to submit. Cropping of images. The limitation is there. If you want to cut the border of the images, there is a limitation. Unnecessary crops need to be avoided because it may affect the original quality. See, any adjustment or software if you have used, it needs to be reported to the journal editors. Because we live in the online with advanced level technology. So manipulation is quite very easy and possible for anyone. Even though he is expert in the technology or non-expert in the technology, they can commit this kind of activities. That's why the things, whatever you have used to generate these outputs, need to be properly intimated to them. Suppose you may have quoted, I have edited this picture, I have cropped this picture, I have added some brightness and contrast. That time they will ask you to code the package and the version details. Each and everything need to be mentioned. The tips. In the last session, I told the same to you. Keep copies of the original files, the images, the metadata, whatever you access. Not only for review process, even the retraction time, they are insisting to maintain these resources. If FFP related problems arise against the researchers, these things need to be submitted. How is plagiarism detected? The checkers, the way how they check. As you know, this is mandatory in all institutions. The higher educational universities, now they use. In Western, they use this for school level. Even in the school level education in Western, they use. School level assignments, they need to cross the detectors. They use it for UG level and PG level, MPhil level research activities. Our university too, we use to check the detections in your research, the PhD level research. The documents, whatever you submit into the checker will be matched with the databases, whatever they cover across the globe. See, it will check the world level. They have the powerful link and all resources, social networks, medias, blacks, and whatever you access in online, they have that link tie-up. That means they are authorized to access their resources. So you should not think we have collected from one sources, it will not be accessed by them. You should not have this kind of thought in your mind. Detect text that is too similar to other sources. Whenever you try to paraphrase, up to its level best, it will try to match the similarities. Detects where citations are missing. Do not forget the necessity of the citation in research. Using plagiarism checker yourself. Some online free checkers are available. Let me show one by one. But it is up to your own interest. Risk is there. We'll find what are the risks of it. Check if you can download a plagiarism report when you submit your assignments. See, if you want to use the free resources, you will upload the document. Sometimes it will ask. But many packages will not remove the document. Once you uploaded, you will not get back it. This is the complications with the free checkers. So researchers are instructed to use it carefully. See, if you want to use the free plagiarism checkers, it is on your own. Not all on plagiarism checkers are safe. Make sure whether it is reliable or trustable. Because many commercial, the licensed packages are price fixed. You know, the licensed and the free. The licensed packages, they follow all the ethics and regulations. Suppose if you want to check your document, you can upload it if you have the license. If you want to remove after checking, possibilities are there. It gives the permission. But the free checkers, you won't find this kind of feature. Sometimes you can observe the report on the screen only. You can't take the printouts. You must be very careful. So the consequences. Last session I explained briefly. It may lead you to fail the course, suspension or expulsion from the institution. The copyright issues may be arised against you. Your reputation and potentiality will be damaged, maybe end of your career. Let me show the software tools which are popular. Plagiarism checker, usually it checks the documents, whatever you submit, against the sources which are available in online. This is the basic function of any plagiarism detector. Whatever, but it depends on the limitation and the coverage. The content and the coverage of the plagiarism detector may help to detect more similarities. If the coverage is less, the similarity will be less. That's why the Turnitin and Argon, one other more Scribber, these are all the popular packages preferred by universities in our country as well as other countries. First, I show the Turnitin and its features. If you access the Turnitin, this is the front home page of the package. See the top horizontal line, you can find various educational level rights, the higher education, secondary education. I told you, the secondary education level, the students need to grasp the plagiarism detection. The contact sale option clearly tell you the price fixed version. You need to get the login ID and password to access your document. Turnitin is useful a combination of multiple packages. It has various components. The first one is called as originality. It checks the originality of the student's work. Like as a MS Office, you know MS Office. It includes various applications for different purposes. Like that, Turnitin also includes different application for various purposes in the academic sector. This originality helps to maintain the integrity, particularly the students' research activity will be traced by the originality application. The next one is referred as a grade scope. This is one of the common. The assessments will be performed by the grade scope. I will show, see, the graduation level, your assignments will be tested like this. See the subjects. Whatever the subject we have in our campus will be listed like this. All the branches students need to submit their assignments. Here, the things would be matched like this. Assignment, it will take 5 to 10 pages. This is called as a grade scope. This is the similarity. The indexes. Prevention trusted by educators worldwide. Just imagine how powerful this package is. So simply, the researchers can't cheat this package. This application name is referred as similarity. Then authenticate. This is the publisher part. When we submit some articles to the publishers are using the Turnitin application, where the authenticate helps them to trace the similarities. So they have various applications for the welfare of institutions, the graduation levels, secondary education levels, and the publishers level. The different applications and different platforms, which is treated as a powerful one. This is the feedback studio. Here you can explore your plans. Whoever has the license, if you have the license, you can get involved in the discussions, and the other feedback items are also available in this part. You can explore your ideas. See, usually the key features of the Turnitin is like this. See the right part. Whenever you submit the document, the color-coded background items will be used to trace the similarities. The comparison for easy interpretation. Data insights to show deliberate text manipulation. Suppose if you change the words in the sentences like this, everything will be highlighted like this. It checks against the leading databases of content for comprehensive results. Because whatever you access, it will be accessed by the plagiarism detector. Do not forget. Here you access one resource using the online. The same online resources will be accessed by the plagiarism detectors. So unless you paraphrase or follow the research ethics, it would be categorized as the FFP. See, different languages. Just imagine how many countries in the world they have. It shows some limited languages. If you scroll down, it will show bulk of languages. This is the Tanditin Support Center. Suppose if you want to get a license or any other idea to purchase this application, this part will help you to contact them. But it will ask you to enter all the details. You can't give the false detail. See, your name, your email need to be provided. And all the rules, the institution name, the red color star indicates these are all mandate. You can't skip this part. If you skip, it will not accept the request. When you click the I agree part, it needs to be enabled. One small checkbox, I agree, is there. After filling all the text box option, you need to enable this box. That means you are agreeing all their terms and conditions. Do not forget. Simply you can click and submit it. Before submitting this form, their guidelines and the rules and regulation, everything is provided in their home page. If you are ready to accept the terms and condition, you can give an agree. Otherwise, just stay away from this. These are the related sources available regarding the Tanditin. This is authorized Tanditin portals. It gives the complete information about the Tanditin package, how it works, how we can use it, how you can purchase, what are the limitations. Everything is detailedly provided by this website. Before you enter your details, just go through the guidelines. It is must. Without aware of the basic guidelines, do not give the submit part. In not only Tanditin, in any other online application. In your smartphone, when you install an app, it will often ask you your permission. Give permission, access permission, access permission, access permission. You must be aware of these things. If blindly you give the rights, it has the rights to access your data. Let me show the Orkun application. This is like a Tanditin. It is one of the powerful detection package. It is also price fixed, which is not available at the free of cost. Tanditin also licensed version, price fixed. They give the assurance. We prevent the plagiarism in your campus. We promote the integrity in your institution. They give the assurance to the universities. Many universities, like Tanditin, they are using Urguntu. It is our choice. See, usually it gives the output like this. The analysis part will be indicated in different form. Tanditin is using one different format. The Urkun output type is also like this. Each and every pages will be counted, and they will be sequenced by the numbers like this. Whether it is a 15 page or 16 page or 20 or 100, everything will be sequentially identified like this manner. It identifies with the pictorial types. See, this is referred as a document overview bar. If you access this bar, you can find all the page numbers. See, the pages, when you click, it will scroll one by one. All the pages, whatever you submitted, will be monitored through this way. See the right part. Here, the finding each and every part, when you click the matching text, it will take you what are the matched items the packages is traced, and what are the warnings are available given by the package also can be traced in this page. The view the entire document. This part will get all the items related to your sources. The similarities usually checked by two forms in Urkun. The first 66 shows the particular assignment related similarity. The 20 shows overall similarity for the particular user. I told you in Western, the students need to submit their assignments. So it automatically create an account for the student. Whenever they submit the documents, everything will be stored under the student ID. So for the particular document, how much similarity he received. What are the overall similarities he traced during the graduation period? So because this is a routine procedure for them. Directly they can't submit the assignment to the teachers. They must submit it to the package. Then package will maintain the grades. The reports will be generated at the end of the graduation. So the 20 indicates overall similarities. The 60 indicates the particular assignment. When second assignment is submitted, the individual similarities would be generated. It has the provision. The details, whatever you submitted, will be listed like this. The free checkers will not produce these details. That is the difference. Whenever you use free online checkers, they won't have the ability to produce like this unless you get the license. They are also license package available. But if you want to use the free, these provisions you can find. How checking the documents works in. See, usually the 4 steps. Any plagiarism follows these 4 steps. Your submission, then relevant sources will be retrieved and matched. The machine learning powered analysis, the algorithm which are behind this application will trace the similarities. Then finally report generation. Only 4 steps. Your part is submission and getting the report. The second and third are mission related parts. These 4 steps not only occur in Turnitin or Scribbler. If you access, you can find these are the 4 simple ways. But behind these steps, it does lay a lot. You can't imagine where it access, which platform it works, what are the resources behind these similarity pages. The major source areas are categorized in 3 types. These 3 areas are often covered by the plagiarism checkers. First, internet, the online based all resources. It uses internet to access all resources. The published materials, sometimes the printed materials you may have referred. Unless it exists in the online, it would not be covered by the plagiarism detectors. Then student materials, because it has separate database for students, assignments, and other related materials. In India, the research scholars theses are verified, not the assignments. But in other countries, everything they are accessing. That's why they are maintaining separate platform. See, I'm showing a less number of platforms which are covered by the plagiarism checkers. They are integrated with all other resources across the globe. They have the link. Whatever the sources you access, automatically it will be detected by the plagiarism. Just for illustration purpose, I have selected a few platforms. See, the Google Classroom. In a COVID period, the Google Classroom is quite familiar. All your research activities, the classroom activities, you are uploading in the Google Classroom. So it would be easy for the detectors to check the resources and trace the similarities. You are familiar with some social networks, the Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. But apart from that, there are a lot of blacks exist. These blacks are also covered by the detectors. They have the link. As Turnitin, it is available in multiple languages. Because sometimes the researchers will access other countries' documents. Using the translate option, possibilities are there to translate the document and you convert it in English format, the regional format, it format. You refer. So you should not think we have referred the Chinese document and German document or Japanese or French document which are not quite familiar in English. But detectors will access everything because they provide multiple language facilities. Whenever you translate, they have the ability to translate the same thing. This is the pro forma. In case if you want to access Orkun, you can get it from their portal. The same, if you accept their terms and condition, it will permit you to pay the fee and you can use it. The resources and related guidelines are available in the Orkun authorized portal. You can get more information from this link. This is another popular licensed package. These three are licensed, not free. Scribber is quite familiar. See, its output is completely different. The pictorial type output you can find. The similarity percentage. This shows 39% similarity for one resource. The percentage will be actually generated like this. When you get the output, it will produce the similarity rate like this. When you go for the matched sources, it lists all the items like this, not all the packages, not only Scribber. The Scribber has given the output. See, the website, how many percentage it matches the similarity. In the sociology related website, how many percentage. Each and everything will be calculated and the percentage related sources will be completely generated by using different colors. It gives different colored sets for different sources. Here the provision helps you to include or exclude the items. The repositories, usually the platforms are referred as institutional repositories. At worldwide, these repositories are accessed by the checkers. See the option, exclude from document. The bibliography quoted items. I told you, when you quote others' definition, the provisions helps you to omit them and it will not be categorized under plagiarism. So if you forget the quotes in your research, automatically it will be treated as your own work. So now if I use the quote option, if the quote option is enabled, it will check the document for plagiarism. The quote is not exist. What does it mean? It will treat this is the author's original work. But the problem is it will be matched in other document. Automatically it will be brought under the similarities. That's why the quoting in in-text and reference are very important. The bibliography option. These are all the menus available in Scribber. The plagiarism percentage, matched sources, then advanced controls, improve your writing. These are all for the researchers' benefit, not related to the similarity. They give some resources. If you are licensed person, they will help you to develop your write-up skills and everything. Some research-based technical ideas will be provided by the Scribbers. See, the 4 steps, as I said. First, you need to upload the document. You have to wait few minutes. It says few minutes, but depending on the coverage, maybe for assignment, it will take few minutes. For checking the 200 pages or 300 pages, this will consume more time. Third, receive the report. 4, you can fix the plagiarism based on the similarities. Suppose if it falls below 10%, there will be no problem. As per UGC guidelines, if it goes beyond 10%, depending on the similarities, you need to restructure and you must try to reduce the plagiarism. See, so far you have observed the licensed and authenticated research. You are going to watch some free versions popularly available and often used by the researchers too, but this is purely your choice, not suggested by any experts. Just for your sake of awareness, I am exploring a few checkers. The first one is called as a duplicate checker. It checks the duplicates. Its name is duplichecker.com. It's listed in top 1, of course, in the free versions. Among the free versions, If you check the pros and the cons of this package, the registration is compulsory. Without registration, this checker will not help you to verify your documents. Free of charge. No need to pay money. Easy to use. The two ways you can check the plagiarism. See, ways means whether it will ask you to upload it in their cloud-based storage. Otherwise, from your desktop, you can directly upload it on the portal. The ways differ by the plagiarism checkers. See the limitation. 50 plagiarism only you can check. One search per day for unregistered users. Here the one search means not one full document. Do not think like that. It may ask you to enter 200 words or 500 words. Suppose if it may permit you to enter one paragraph. Charles Darwin quote I showed. Sometimes the free checkers will ask you to enter just one paragraph. Then your quota over. The next day, you can enter one paragraph. These are the inconvenience. Already I told you. The free versions have the limitations because these are also price fixed. But to encourage the researchers to get license, they are giving the free services. The second one is a copy leaks. This is also a free version. See, this is a cloud-based platform. See the pros and cons. For educational and business purpose, they are using multiple file format is accept. Some plagiarism detector will ask you to use the PDF file. Some will insist you to upload in RTF file format or XRF file format. There are different file formats, but when you go through the free versions, the guidelines will help you which file format you need to save your document. Sign up is must. That means you have to register. First 10 pages are free. It gives 10 pages per day. The next one is a paper read. This is also a free version. See the pros. It's a collection of various applications, of course. It helps you to see the proofs, grammar you can check. The vocabulary builder is available. The plagiarism checker is also available. Suppose if any grammatical errors, some packages will check the similarities only. But this package helps you to check the grammatical errors. Suppose in the English based, the language corrections also detected by this package. Fast results. See the cons. It can't save the report. You can watch the report on the screen. Free of charge, you are permitted to submit only up to 5 pages. It permits 5 pages only. Plagiarism. This is another free version. Only I have listed the 10 free versions only. Because if you access, you can find more than hundreds of versions. But these 10 plays major role when comparing to others. But they are not ad free. They are fully loaded with ads. If you use the free version, you can even find the ads. Often it will show variety of advertisements. See the pros. 190 plus languages are supported by this package. Plagiarism check by URL, online or file upload. 3-way system. This is 3-way system. Some applications follow 2 ways. This application helps you to use 3-way format. Firefox and Chrome enabled extensions are available in this. If you are licensed to one, you can download and install it in your Chrome and Firefox. Limited plagiarism checks in free version. Per day, it also limits. The next one is a plagiarism check. The name of the package is Plagiarism Checker. See the pros and cons. It gives the complete guidelines, purely online. Check if others have plagiarized your online content. You may have your own blog. Often you write your ideas and research related concepts. The people are having the habits. Suppose if anything is copied by some other person in some other location, it helps you to trace the plagiarism. This feature is provided this package. It supports only Google or Yahoo. Other browsers are not supported. If you think about the Edge or Bing or any other popular packages which are available, that would not be supported. The two browsers are currently supported, Google or Yahoo browsers. Plagium. This is one of the popular free version. See, character sets, limited characters only you can search, entirely online. You can get the outputs, you can save the results. Limited free features. This one is named as a black scan. Black scan. See, it uses three ways. Either URL or your desktop or cloud-based you can use. It has the powerful integration features. Of course, it is a complicated interface. That means it is not user-friendly. The limited features will not let the users to check all the content, but it checks the items against the scientific journals and other documents through online. When you compare the Turnitin, Argon, Scribble, the platforms covered by these packages are almost less. This one is a pledge tracker. Pledge tracker. See, it supports various languages and gives the complete report. But in free version, you can't upload the files. It will not permit you to check your files in the free version. If you get license, it may help you to access it. But the passages and paragraphs you can use, not in the file format. The limited parts or limited portions. But it's a laborious work, time-consuming process. All the online free checkers will consume your time. Q text. This is referred as a Q text. No subscriptions, unlimited usage, but you need to sign up. That means you have to register. No files uploading. That means you can't upload all your work. Part of the work, as per the instruction, you need to copy and transfer. Again, you have to copy and transfer. This one is called as a plagiarism hunt. Plagiarism hunt. See, this application covers 5 different components. When you submit the document, these 5 components help you to access various platforms. So it assures for the best results. You can try to scan for free with one free tool. You are permitted to use any one of the two. Its speed is slow. When comparing to other checkers, its speed is very slow. You can't collect your previously checked papers. Note this point. Many plagiarism, if there is a provision to upload your document, you must be aware. Once you uploaded, you can't get back it. Can you understand what will happen? When you go for submitting your results, it will show the similarities because already the same document is uploaded. It is a time-consuming process to give explanations. You need to prove. I verified the data with this plagiarism checker. It shows the same similarities now. Everything need to go through the procedures. It's a headache process. So when you use the plagiarism free checker, please keep this point in your mind. Whenever you copy and paste some portion, it will be stored in their database. You have restructured or paraphrased, you have contributed some own ideas. Simply, if you copy in online checkers, it will be stored in one location. So it will bring the headaches to it. What are the awareness required when you cite the resources? See, these things you must be aware whenever you go. The print sources which are posted online. Many print sources now the researchers have developed the flags. It lets the researchers to upload their own article. I have published 50 papers, for example. If I use the ResearchGate.net, if I am a member, I can transfer my printed version in the scanned format and I can upload it. These are not directly online printed version, just understand. You can see these differences, online version and print version. Now the journals, you can find these two different indications. The print versions are different, online versions are different. Both are having different ISSN serials. The international standard serial numbers simply referred as ISSN. This number will be quoted for the journals. If it is a printed version, they give one separate ISSN. If it's an online version, they give another ISSN along with the DOI. When I refer the printed version, sometimes if it is transferred into the online format, that time these sources need to be mentioned. Do not forget. That's why they are differentiating the online versions of printed periodicals. The databases, various databases you access and you refer. If you are called for the library, I think you are attending the practice in the library. The 5th unit covers the metrics-based topics where you will be permitted to access the databases, how to access the journals using Web of Science and Scopus, the free consortium-based services provided in the library. If you attend there, you will get experience how to trace the data using some set of keywords. Because simply typing the keywords may help you to retrace the data from Google or any other for search engines. But in the Web of Science and Scopus-based databases, the key terms need to be applied properly. Of course, the system-based, the operators need to be applied where you can learn these things. When you access these resources, the things need to be quoted properly. See, the online journals, organizational-based websites, whatever you access. The topic websites, private websites, blogs, online videos like YouTube's, forums, listservs, chats, bulletin boards, emails, instant messages, Wikipedia, or any online dictionaries. That means these are not the limitations. Just for illustration, a few sources I have listed. These are not the final versions. Some more sources are exist. Chances are there occasionally when you crash the sources, you can have a time to access it. That time, you need to refer the source in your research day, whatever you access. However, do not forget the quote given by Mark Twain. Under the sun, nothing is new. You are just recycling others' work. Do not forget. Any researcher in the globe, we are just recycling the other's job. When you create some ideas, someone from somewhere, chances are there to create the same idea. This is called a simultaneous invention. If we refer the history of Einstein and Edison, The simultaneous inventions had happened in those centuries. They have received the rewards and awards. The same inventions. 1 year they invented and they received the reward, and the next year for the same product, the another scientist received the award. But the way they handled it for the invention is completely different because it was justified by the researcher. They didn't copy it. They were not treated as a plagiarist peoples because the way they used for their invention is entirely different. Output may be same. What way you used. So these were treated as a simultaneous invention. It is quite not only in early days, nowadays also it is possible. When you have some idea in your mind in the research, in neighbor institution or the other country, they may develop the same idea. Possibilities are there. The coincidental imaginations. But as I said, the resources you used for your research and your ideas will help you to justify. When these issues arise, you must be able to produce the related evidences, what actually you used for your research. That's why you are instructed to maintain the resources. As I said, our university website, the regulations also clearly tells the researcher to secure their sources at least for 7 years. The last class I told you. One example also I displayed. After 7 years, the issues are raised. So what does it mean? So you need to secure the resources till the end of your life, your career. That is the meaning. What happens if it exists after decade or 2 decades? If the problem arises, what you will do? So 7 years is a prediction. But possibilities are there to face the consequences after 7 years. So you must be prepared to face. As Mark Twain said, whatever the glass you have, they are all already broken piece of glasses. Just they have been restructured. Whatever you do, you are restructuring. You are recycling. That's why the quote is very familiar. Under the sun, nothing is new. You may think I have created a new idea, but the idea has been generated by someone else. From there, we are taking some leads. That's all. In a new direction, you are going to produce your research results. That way, you can show some differences. If you want to stay away from the unnecessary stress, the research ethics need to be followed. Once committing the mistakes and suffering the lifelong period, suppose if you get caught, what will happen? See, these things will spoil your health as well as care. The stress is a big thing. Today, you may have a boldness to commit the FFP issues. After some period, definitely the boldness you may or may not have. You can't predict how you will be after 10 years or 20 years. The psychological attitude of the humans are often different. You can't predict. So before stepping into FFP related issues, just you must make sure yourself whether we want to bring any unnecessary stress to our doorsteps or we want to stay away from the issues. This may help you to maintain the self-disciplines. A good researcher always needs to maintain the self-discipline. See, advice, the help, the tips, support, assistance, and the guidance. The first person is your supervisor. Other than supervisor, where you will get the right direction. Your trustable source is your guide first. So whatever the issues you have, you can be solved with the help of your guide only. These assistants may help you to secure yourself from the falsification, fabrication, and plagiarism related issues. If you want to be a good researcher, there are only 2 choices. Whether your research track is in right path or wrong path. The decision should be clever because you are the decision makers. You are the future scientists, future researchers. Your decision need to be solid and meaningful and value based. If you are not able to take the right decision, always it will follow you throughout your career. It is up to you. Let me complete this session with one watermelon story. I thank to Dr. Jagan Mohan Reddy, the professor, the Symbiosis Institute of Business Management, Hyderabad campus, for sharing this story in our email group. He is an expert. Often the academic related stories would be shared by him in our mail groups. This watermelon story is quite familiar. In the northern part of our country, every country, growing watermelon is quite familiar. In the northern part of our country, the watermelon eating contest often conducted by the farmers. Every year, after harvesting, the farmers will conduct this event. One farmer in the village regularly conducted this event, where the kids in the village could be asked to participate in the contest, where they are permitted to eat as much as they want at the free of cost. The farmer usually arranged the contest, and the kids were permitted to eat the watermelon. The watermelons were larger size, not a small one. The northern part, you can see the big size watermelons are there. The children were provided these watermelons, and they can eat without limitations. One boy from the same village, from his school days onwards up to +2 level, every year he participated in this contest and ate the watermelons. It was continued until his school level. After the school level, he visited the nearby city for his higher education related studies. It consumed nearly more than 6 or 7 years crashed. The years were gone. 6, 7 years. After 7 years, he came back to his village and visited the market and was looking for the watermelons. There were no watermelons. 7 years before, the markets were full of larger size watermelons. After 7 years, when he visited the market, he didn't find even a single large watermelon. Instead, a few shops were having small size of watermelon, not a large one. It is small size. Then he shocked and wondered. He wanted to know the reasons, because once he left the village for his higher studies, he didn't get a chance to participate in the contest. That was the time. After 7 years, he visited the village. So he went back to the farmer house to know the reasons why the large watermelons were not there. Instead, the small watermelons are in the market. There, the farmer was not there. His son took the control of the entire crops. He also followed the same father's attitude. Every year, the son conducted the contest. The children were asked to participate. Freely, they issued the watermelons. He observed the contest. That year, the contest was conducted. He observed what happens. Then he realized his son followed his father's attitudes. But the difference is, see, when the farmer conducted the contest, he used the large size watermelon, the bigger one, for the contest. The father, he used the large size watermelon for the contest. The children were instructed to eat many watermelons without limitations. But the farmer put 2 conditions. They should not bite the seed. This is the first condition. When they eat the watermelon, the seed, they should not bite it. The second condition, one big bowl was placed in the contest pot. The kids should spit the seed in the bowl only. Other than the bowl, they should not spit the seed on the ground. These two conditions given by the farmer to the children. The son also followed the same. But here what the difference was, when the father issued the watermelon, after the contest, he collected the larger seeds and saved it for the next year crop. After over the contest, he collected the big size seeds and he reserved it for the next year. That's why he didn't send the large size watermelon to the market. He used it for the contest purpose. And smaller one were sent to the market by the father. The charge was taken by his son and he realized the big size watermelon will get more money from the market. He can sold it for more price. Then he changed the structure. He sent the large size watermelon to the market, whereas the smaller size one was used for the contest. The sequence was completely shattered by his son. Father reserved the big one for the contest, sent the smaller one to the market, where son sent the bigger one to the market, reserved the smaller one for the contest. Then what will happen? Usually, the impact in the watermelon area, nearly it took 7 years. See, the first year, the big seed was used for cropping the watermelons, and it was used for the competition. In the next year, this is coming under the son's control, not father control. In the next year, he was able to cultivate the smaller size watermelon. So among the smaller size, which is big, was sent by him to the market. Again, the small one was used to the contest. Still, it continued up to 7 years. After 7 years, the son was able to produce the small size watermelon. Just realize the impact of the quality of the seed behind the watermelon size. Because whatever we do will take enough time to realize what actually we have committed. In the watermelon story, it took nearly 7 years to understand the big seed, how it raises the quality, and the small seed, how it pulled down the quality of the water. In the watermelon story, you observe how it affected the size of the watermelon because of the seed. It took nearly 7 years. But if this happened in the education and research sector, remember, after 2 decades or 3 decades, the impact would be realized. Because suddenly you are the researcher, you have started your research career. Whatever you commit, the FOP related issues will not be realized after 2 years or 3 years. The complete effect will be realized after 25 years or 50 years, like as a watermelon story. So at last, after 7 years, the large size watermelon totally gone from the field, whereas the smaller one in the field. If the future scientists like you fail to maintain the quality in your research, if you unintentionally or intentionally caused the FOP in your research, the impact will be realized after 25 years. The next page will continue the same, then another page will continue the same. After a certain period, the quality will be declined. This was expressed by CNR Rao in the Bangalore. Of course, he is more than 85 age. His experience was more than about what you imagine. He observed for the past various decades That's why he expressed the dissatisfaction regarding the quality of the scientific research in our country. If the future pillars of our country, like you, if you are not aware of the FOP related issues, then these things will be surely happen. It will bring down the reputations of our country. Okay, you can raise your questions. If anything you want to ask, you can clarify your doubts. Yes.
Who we have to approach after completing the PhD? Before submitting, you have to do the practice.
Are you asking about the free checkers or our university procedure? Yes, yes. After completing your results, you have to appear for pre-viva. Before submitting the synopsis, the pre-viva would be conducted. This is the procedure. After completing your pre-viva, you need to submit synopsis. Before submitting the thesis, you need to check your document, complete thesis in electronic format. The proforma is there.
Is there any, it's like you have to go for outside or university?
Yes, no. University, the DARE section is responsible. They have the pay. They will check it. You need not. See, some researchers want to check their research before submitting it to the university. Is there any plagiarism is available? They will try to reduce it. But the problem is, all the packages are licensed. The powerful packages are licensed. The free versions are having disadvantages.
Because before, once we upload, it
Yes.
is the same thing, whatever we upload. No?
That is the problem. Yes, it is often happening. It is often happening. Many researchers are using the free checkers in outside. Well, the difference is in the licensed version, they have the provision to remove the document. Suppose if you get the license for Turnitin Workon, you can upload your thesis, you can check it. After that, they have separate proforma. The administrator role is there. If you give the complete details to the administrator with the supporting documents, evidences, your document would be removed from the website. But it is a time-consuming process. You can't think that it will be done within a week or within 2 days. It will take more time. It's a risk too. But you need not go to check outside the university because DARE is responsible. If you submit your document at the time of submission, they will detect the similarities. Once you received the report, based on that, you concentrate on the particular portion. Suppose if it insists to add the citation or any other thing, when you go through the report, you can easily find out what mistakes you have committed. It could be easily traced.
They give time to.
Yes, yes, they will give enough time. Yes. Once the plagiarism percentage goes beyond 10%.
If it's a minor mistakes, they will give the. They'll allow us to correct it.
Yeah, that depends on the percentage levels. Suppose if it is go against 60%, it will be difficult. That depends on your guide and your department environment. What kind of suggestions given by the dean, your consent team.
We have to submit with 100% confidence, but still.
Yeah, everyone does.
Mistakes will happen. Like
See,
because of human errors. So that
usually,
can be we can correct it. The chance is there.
Yes, you can't predict. You may think that our research is 100% free from plagiarism, but unintentionally there may be a chance. It makes the similarities. That time it will be identified by the checkers. They will give the reports. Based on that, you have to restrict it. The guidelines say 4 levels. If your research similarities falls within the 4 levels, based on your department rules and regulations, the actions would be initiated. Anything else? The free checkers are for your awareness only. Understand? It is up to your hands. Make your choice, please. Don't try with the free checkers often, because there is no provision to get back your data. Once you copy and pasted it on the online, it may or may not be stored into the databases. So when you go for the final checkout, it may match the similarities. That time you would be suffered a lot. But they are available in the online. Just for the sake of your awareness only, they have been listed. The free and the licensed versions as per the unit coverage. Yes.
They provide individual license apart from institutional.
Yeah, both are available. You can get the individual license. Yeah, student license is there. I showed you the one portal. If you contact the person through this portal, they will contact you. But you have to give all the details. All the details are mandatory.
Also, here they only give reference to the institutions.
Demo versions they will provide. Demo version is there. Student version, you can try with the Scribber. Scribber, yes. Turnitin has limitations. The Scribber you can try.
Is it affordable?
The price may be, I think $20 or $22, $30. I do think so. But the price rates often changes, because, as I said, they are revising their algorithms often, for which they need to spend more money. Their coverage is too large. Turnitin, Orkun, and Scribber, the platform coverages are too large. So they need to spend more money to access these resources. So based on that, the prices are often changed by them. They are the commercial people, of course. Contacts for business purpose, the salesperson, these details are provided on the report. They are commercial people. So there will be no need to wonder about the change of prices. So for their convenience, they will fix the price. If we need, we have to approach them. Any doubts? See, these are all not creating the fear among the researchers. First, you keep one thing in your mind. Just we show the threats which are standing in front of you. You need to stay away from this. That is the purpose of this course. What are the threats are existing in the world? Because nowadays situation is like that. You are all walking along with these threats. Unintentionally, if you step in these issues, you would be suffering. You may be interested to follow the ethics, but the chances are there to enter unknowingly. So that time these issues would be arised. So just for your convenience, we spread the awareness, the things that need to be followed and the things that need to be ignored. Just raise your awareness. Maintain confidential and secrecy in your research always. Other than your guide, you should not discuss your research confidentials with someone else. Else the fruit theory will be repeated. Any questions? Develop your citation skills. I forgot it. The citation skills are very important. Develop your citation skills. The API, say I have one file, the API is file and the related references available in the PDF form. I put it in the desktop. You contact Professor Manikam sir. You can get the file. Understand? One sample file I put here for you. It's a API format reference, the home page reference link, and some samples are there. If you keep it, it will help you to maintain the reference techniques. It gives you the guidelines for API only, not for any other standards. Suppose if you are insisted to go for Harvard or Chicago,